Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to today's segment. And it's in regards to a slight update and maybe a little bit of good news for everybody here in Canada and also in other countries, as you will see my demonstration. So I'm going to wait to see how many people actually are here. So I'll give you a little bit of time to get organized and get ready. Again, this is surprise, surprise. And I tend to do things as, whenever I get the time to do something, that's when I'll grab the time to do it. And it's really important that people understand what's been going on, why it's been happening, and how long it's been going on for. So anyways, I'm just going to check to make sure that, yes, I am live, and I should be live. Yeah. I guess so. But I can't see if anybody's speaking to me, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to go to the YouTube. So just please bear with me 1 second. Okay, I'm there and all's good. Not very many people there, but don't worry. Usually I do this on Facebook first, and then I'll put it on YouTube, but I decided to do the reverse today because the French people need to, I need to be able to have some type of translation for the French people because it's kind of hard. Bad enough, I've got time constraints on being able to do these in English, and then to come back and do them in French. It's not that easy. So, and then most of the time I don't have the French documents to go along with them. A lot of them are, don't have them, especially from the English side. So again, it's a little frustrating, to say the least, because they're not automatically done in both languages. So anyways, I want to speak to you today in regards to DNA, our DNA, and as well as the CBDC. Okay. So in regards to if you've been watching us or following us at the Canadian People's Union, the Powershift, you'll see that we've been talking about our DNA and Genetic Non-Discrimination Act since 2020. Okay, we started looking at that in July of 2020. And that was because there was a really important court case happening. And the judgment came out on July 10th of 2020. And actually, it was in motion since 2017, where Justin Trudeau was trying to remove this law or trying to make sure that this law did not pass. And it's in regards to the discrimination of our genetics. So in regards to that, long story short, it was in regards to a doctor who, a chiropractor actually, was trying to get insurance, and then she couldn't get the insurance because she was turned down because of her father, having cancer. So they discriminated against her and didn't want to give her insurance because she was likely to have cancer. So anyways, a whole bunch of organizations got together, and when Quebec and the other provinces were trying to get a hold of our rights over DNA collection and to take it out of the, because at the federal level, it's a criminal act to discriminate against our DNA. So it comes with $1 million fine and 10 years in jail. So, the provinces want to have access to this. And I could figure out, why are the provinces after this? Come on, so Quebec was really fighting the good fight there, along with other provinces. But when you look at everything that's happened, okay, and that's why I love research. I mean, I could get lost in this research like there's no tomorrow. And it's very interesting to see how things progressed over the years and how we ended up this way and where we are today. So because of that, and the things we have found out, including the immunity of Parliament and everybody else who thinks they've got immunity because it's a pandemic. Well, they claim that, and it was a pandemic. So there is no immunity for these people, and that makes me laugh. And hopefully it'll make you laugh too eventually once we can get something going on this. But getting something going on this is really, really hard because first of all, I thought, okay, the only solution to having our final decision-making authority in Canada that was stolen from us back in 1982, which is what I was first working on, was decolonization. And we were decolonized formally to a point back in 1982 from the UK. Well, it's still not done to this day. Why? Because we have not had referendums, and the UK specified that. But also there's a few other underlying things. So if you're looking at our Constitution, as long as it says UK in the preamble, it belongs to the UK. So now we have, I figured, okay, well, we're going to send letters, we're going to get conventions of consent signed, and we're going to send that to the UK, and then we're going to take the UK to court. Well, no lawyers wanted to undertake it, and the ones that would have were saying, well, Nicole, sorry, but they're going to ignore you. And I'm thinking, oh, the law is the law. As far as I know, this is what they keep repeating, and Canada follows the rule of law. Or so I thought. Seriously. The snow job they've been giving us, and it is not even funny. They talk out of their mouths and it comes out up from their ears. And that's called double speak. So I've learned a lot about double speak. Unfortunately, it's made us waste a lot of time and energy. But hopefully now we'll be able to teach you how not to get fooled the way that we did. And to expect that, the law is the law. Because we've seen within our research, we've seen that judges don't follow the law. And a lot of things were done on purpose in regards to keeping the government above the people instead of the people being above the government. And then rightfully, the courts are supposed to be there, okay, equal to the government, but there for our benefit to make sure that the government doesn't override us. Okay, and which is what they're doing today. So we're in a complete totalitarian regime. Okay, we've always been in one. You just didn't know it because of the double speak. So now, should we trust Poiliev? No way, because that's their jobs. If you go year from year to year, okay, you'll see the politicians every time there's an election, right? And then you'll see their actions afterwards. And then you're going to say, well, what the hell? What? I remember, anybody but Harper, and then anybody but Trudeau, and then back to the Conservatives, and finally the NDP comes in, only to find out that they're all shills, double agents from the World Economic Forum, all young global leaders that were picked to go worldwide, infiltrate a bunch of governments, same as, if you look back to the Brotherhood, there's the same thing. They've infiltrated governments. And, if you don't like murderers, and don't forgive murderers, well, you don't love Jesus. Well, hello, I'm not that insane. I would never, I don't care who Jesus likes. Doesn't mean I have to like them. And doesn't mean that I don't like Jesus or anything else like that. People can think whatever the hell they want. But I follow my instincts and I follow what's inside. I'm more spiritual than religious for good reason. And once you've done the research that we've done, you think the same thing too. Mind you, Jesus has a lot of good aspects to that. So if people want to follow Jesus, that's fine. So, but anyways, I follow my own instincts at the same time, because what we've found out throughout the years, who owned the printing presses, who manipulated the printing presses, who controls what can be said in books and what can't be said. I remember Naomi, she had written a book, and everything was censored. And that started off, I think, she was talking, I think 2010 or 2011, somewhere around that. But anyways, she was really frustrated, trying to do some good work, exposing some stuff, and she kept being censored everywhere. So eventually she said, to heck with this. And she went out on her own and stopped using publishing companies. So anyways, there's a lot of things that have been happening that are controlled, and is out of our control because of that, because of the censorship and everything else, and having a totalitarian government. So in regards to what's been happening, 2017 with the Genetic Non-Discrimination Act, Justin Trudeau really tried with Ms. Raybould, and also David Lametti. David Lametti kind of finished it off, and Ms. Raybould was able to, walk away from all that stuff, and she was lucky, and thank goodness that Jody did that. So anyways, that's one person I'd like to speak with. But anyways, David Lametti, I wrote, if you remember, those that have followed us, if you remember, I wrote 2 letters, well, 1 letter to the UK, and then I tried to get the lawyers in on that. And they were saying, well, Nicole, they're going to ignore you. And then I found out why. But in the meantime, I had written back in 2021, June of 2021. Actually, I started in January to write everywhere in regards to our DNA being stolen. So, and that was all had to do with what was happening and why we were going through the motions of this, the last fictitious last 3 years that everybody was subjected to. And then people losing their jobs, and, corporations enforcing bogus laws that the government was forcing them, obliging them to bring forward, or also they pay a fine and whatnot. So anyways, in order to be able to look at everything, this is why you don't see us that much, because we have to uncover layers and layers and layers of BS before we get to the really good stuff. And it's like peeling an onion that's, weigh 1,000-pound onion, and trying to peel the layers off of it. So anyways, we've done enough peeling that we can see a pattern, and we've seen that pattern, and it starts all the way back, and not too far from here, actually, the United States, NIH, and the United States government, the CDC, the FDA, and all of these. I got to watch my language. I'm not going to say it. I got to bite my tongue here. But anyways, all of these people should be charged, and we can't touch the United States really, because they walked away from being charged under crimes against humanity. And they did not want to sign a lot of the agreements at the international level, but our little Canadian governments did, and they were so cocky that thinking that nobody'd find the information or would be able to do something with it, or would know how to do something with it. And the how is very important, because a lot of people will start running in one direction and try to do something, and they'll get slapped out, slapped down. They'll get precedents that are bad instead of good precedents, all because of words being used. Words are extremely, extremely important, and you have to know which words they've used, and because if you say the wrong thing, you've lost your case. And that's the one thing that we've seen. And in regards to that, with Canada signing all these treaties, international treaties, well, Canada is in big doo-doo. And somebody was cocky enough back in 2000 to sign away the immunity of all parliamentarians. I love it. And the crown, but under that as superiors, right? So even somebody in public health who's a superior could get charged. And then we saw that the court case with Hinshaw. Thank goodness for the judge in a sense. And they want, okay, so the judge says, oh, well, the law states that it's only, public health that's supposed to make the decisions, not the Canadian government or like the provinces are not, the premier is not supposed to be making decisions as to rules and regulations under public health. It's got to be the public health, because that's the law that they came out with in 2012. Okay. So they knew way back then that they were getting prepared for this. They already knew how to put everything onto public health so that we would not be thinking, well, now they can take away our rights because, oh my God, all hell's breaking loose. All these people are going to die and blah, blah, blah. And then they're giving us, the media is giving us predictions from a computer instead of taking predictions from life itself, what we've experienced, so I mean, unbelievable. I mean, some of the things are laughable, but this is no laughing matter. People are dying. People have died. This is serious. And what they've done is criminal. And yes, they can be charged. And yes, they have no immunity. And that's why I laugh, because as smart as they thought they were, they're not all that smart. It just takes a little bit of ingenuity, a lot of patience, and opening our eyes to the fact that in Canada, Canadian citizens have no right. If people want to think that they can bring in natural law, good luck with that. You're wasting time and energy. You're only going to be disappointed. Natural law comes into the court system in a sense, but the way people are understanding it is totally different. We do have common law, and we need to use the laws that do protect us. And I'm going to show you how laws can protect us. And, coming back to when I said that, I thought the law, they have to follow the rule of law. The courts have to follow the rule of law. The lawyers have to follow the rule of law. They laugh at it. The Bar Association should be closed down, and all of the ones working for the bar should be charged. Now you have because they have elections, it's not the same people, but the ones who participated in obstructing justice, because courts, lawyers, and judges, according to international law, are the keepers of the rule of law. So anyways, sorry about that, but as keepers as the rule of law, they need to be able to protect that rule of law, and they have not. Why? I was wondering, well, how come the lawyers don't want to help us, and why are they saying, well, no, Canada doesn't, even if Canada signs an international treaty, they're not bound by it. Well, excuse me, they were bound by it. They are bound by it. And they have been, there's been some retribution from the UN in regards to that. And then, we've got proof of that. Canada's fingers were slapped. Quebec's fingers were slapped. And they're not allowed to derogate from our rights, and they have to have really, really good excuse for that. Okay, so anyways, the rule of law matters. We do have rights, and those are the ones that we already have that we need to push. Okay, so in Canada, we need to push back on the court system and the lawyers who have been misled, because if you'll notice, some lawyers will say, oh no, we can't mention international law, but international law tells you exactly how things are supposed to happen in different situations. And it's already been determined, and our country and the UK have both signed on to those laws. So they're stuck by it. United States people, well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to speak to your government. Because how are you going to uphold international law? for your rights. Right now, you're not protected by them, unfortunately, under some of them anyways. So we're going to have to try and enforce that because it was done illegally without the people's consent, again, even in the United States. So everything that's been done against the people, and we can show that it was deliberate. So in regards to the last 3 years, everything was deliberate, even though we can say, okay, well, there was this, it was that. You need to be able to prove it in court. And the thing is you got to watch your words. So, and then first of all, well, how are you going to bring it to a court here when we've got corrupt judges? We've got lawyers who don't know the real international laws and what's really coming down in Canada, how the law is supposed to be in Canada. So not to their fault of their own, but they weren't taught that, and it was all deliberate. So we go back to this, and then we say, okay, well, okay, how are we going to find a judge? Well, we're not going to find one in Canada that's going to be honest, unless they come and speak up. And now it's going to be their time to do so. So I invite every judge and every lawyer who knows that, yes, we have protected rights, to please come forward. You can send me an email at nicole@canadianpeoplesunion.com or nicole@thecpu.ca, or, you can call us at 226-777-5580. Leave a message and I'll get back to you. But right now we're working with other lawyers who know their stuff. And thank goodness for that. And including the lawyers from the UK. They were just waiting for us to be able to prepare to take another strategy, because now decolonization could be on the table for sure. With what's transpired, the UK could not ignore there's a fly here, could not ignore the Chagos Islands, and eventually had to fold. And that just happened lately, people. So, and again, there's things that happened in 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022 that works in our benefit, that has changed everything. So whatever the lawyers might have thought before is no longer quite right. So we have to explain all this to them. We have to show them the proof and whatnot. And some of them already know the proof. Already know exactly what's going down. So, by Canada stating that, oh, it doesn't have to abide by international law. Well, yeah, no, it's BS. They're feeding you a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so anyways, they need to be worried. All the parliamentarians, the senators, everybody in Parliament, everybody at the Treasury Board, everybody at the Bank of Canada, everybody who is a superior of somebody in public health or in management, provincial level, federal level, you need to start telling the truth. You can reach me at nicole@thecpu.ca. Just, that's easier for you to remember, right? So anyways, this is what I want to kind of show you, but I'm going to do a screen share and show you this. And then after that, we're going to go to the CBDC. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got this right paper on here. Yep, right there. And go to Zoom and screen share. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this here, I'm just going to bring that up here. This is the Johannesburg Principles on National Security, Freedom of Expression and Access to Information, Freedom of Expression and UN doc, okay, 1996. But a lot of things have happened even since then to really combine everything. So we've got that kind of working for us. How come I'm in this picture here? So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so that you guys can see it bigger and read here. Okay. So I've talked also about the Syracuse Principles. So there's the Syracuse Principles and then the Johannesburg Principles. And then there's also something called the Oviedo Convention in regards to protecting everybody's genome and everything like that. So that'll be for another, I'm going to speak about that at another live stream. So here it's the principles were adopted on October 1st, 1995 by a group of experts in international law, national security, and human rights, convened by Article 19, the International Center Against Censorship, in collaboration with the Center for Applied Legal Studies of the University of the Witwatersrand in Johannesburg. The principles are based on international and regional law and standards relating to the protection of human rights, evolving state practice as reflected inter alia in judgments of national courts. Okay, that would be like here. And the general principles of law recognized by the community of nations. Now, the rule of law, people, is based on principles. Principles are what creates the rule of law and vice versa. They go hand in hand. So that's why principles are very, very, very important. Now here, they go on to explain how the participants have been involved in drafting the present principles. We have a lot of our own countries' justices that participated in that. So I'm going to go over this really fast, but here one of the main ones is taking into account relevant provisions of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, the UN Basic Principles on the Independence of the Judiciary, the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, the American Convention on Human Rights. And that's what most people don't know about. That's from the Organization of American States, or the OAS. Okay, so that's like a mini United Nations type thing. Okay, so now we have the American Convention on Human Rights and the European Convention on Human Rights. So whatever the countries have been negotiating in regards to contracts and all this, so you have employees, you have international corporations, businesses that are here and vice versa. So we had to look at all of these things. And how can we manage to bring criminal charges against the Canadian government and everybody who's participated in the grand scheme of things? So when you listen to Dr. David Martin speak, he's talking about racketeering. Well, he's very right. So I want to bring you to number 13 here. These are all general principles. So we have freedom of opinion, expression, and information prescribed by law, protection of the legitimate national security interest, necessity of in a democratic society, necessary. So all of these things that are necessary to democratic society, you'll find under this section. Legitimate national security interest, states of emergency. When can they do them? When can't they do them? Trudeau could not do them. Okay, that's the bottom line. So again, here, prohibition of discrimination, and then restrictions on freedom of expression. So when I'm talking to you, it should always begin with saying that I am practicing my civil and political rights to be able to discuss freely on the internet or anywhere on this planet. Okay, laws or no laws, I have the right, had from the international law and my protected rights, that I can speak anywhere and speak to everybody that I can, because as far as being Canadian, I'm speaking with others who have the right to self-determination in my country, and as well as the right to self-determination at the international level. Okay, so I'm practicing those rights. I understand those rights, and I understand that there's nothing that the Canadian government can do legally. Whatever they would do would be illegal. Okay. So now we've got protection of opinion, expression that may threaten national security, protected expression. So a lot of these, they'll give you what are the protected expressions. Well, there's some words you can't say, other words you can't say. Okay, and you can't have hate speech, though, does not qualify. There are different requirements for all of these things, so you need to understand them. So we're going to have them. We've created for our our members. Sorry about that. a place where they can get all of these documents, but we're going to put some of these in our blog as well so that you can have access to them. Otherwise, you'd have to become a C.P.U member to have access to everything that we have, because we can only give you so much information and as to what's going on. But this is the one here, number 13. Always remember, whenever you find something, you want to look at the government's website, look at number 7, number 13 or 11, 33. Okay, and just go directly to there. Okay, then you'll see what they're trying to keep their hands on. But here is public interest in disclosure. So we're going to go to number 13 down here. Okay. Seven. There we go. Principle 13, public interest in disclosure. Okay. In all laws and decisions concerning the right to obtain information, the public interest in knowing the information shall be a primary consideration. So the reason why I want to bring you to Principle 13 is because when they're trying to make laws, like in the Hinshaw court case that just came back, the judge did say that, okay, it was only up to Dr. Hinshaw to make declaration, like to make rules for the during the pandemic. However, in here, the government can claim, well, it's in the public interest not to divulge the information, or they'll use it's in the public interest to divulge the information. So this here, public interest in knowing the information shall be a primary consideration. So even if the government doesn't want it out, because the government says, well, we work for the people, and it's not in our best interest as representative of the people to have that information out. And that's how they're going to try to keep things closed. But with this here, it says the reverse. You have to give primary consideration. Is it more important for the people to know or not? Or is it more important for the people to not have anybody see this information? Excuse me, when it comes to Canadian citizens and laws regarding our rights, yeah, it's up to us to decide that. And yes, it's in the public interest. So that's why court cases will say, well, it's in the public interest. Now you'll be able to see, exactly how that works by reading this document. So we'll have a lot of information for you. So that'll be put up in the next couple of days on our website. You can, if you're not in Facebook or anywhere else, you can go to the powershift.ca, and the website will revert to the CPU.ca. And we had to do that because we were getting banned everywhere, even for emails and stuff like that. So we had to change everything at the same time, keep trying to work to see how we're going to get our rights as the final decision makers in this country. Because if we look at only little things, it won't really matter. I'm going to do a stop share here. Yeah, so if we're doing all kinds of little things, we go after the DNA, we go after all this, the fact that they've stolen our DNA, and where's that DNA going, and who's using that DNA? Did you know about it? No, they didn't tell you about it, and that's illegal. Oh, but then they'll say, oh, but it's legal because it wasn't an emergency. BS. Okay. First of all, they have to prove that it was an emergency, and it was not. And now, because we're at this stage, right? Even variants, Pierrette said it the best the other day, and thank goodness for Pierrette. It's like what's a variant? Well, it's like having a glass of wine and pouring water into it. It won't be that much effective, right? So never be afraid of variants. They have thousands of them. So when you start reading the documents we've read in regards to the science and all of this, it was like, wow, okay. Shouldn't be scared of variants. But mind you, once in a while, like you'll find something and people say, well, yes, I was really sick. And yes, you could have been sick. But the thing is They gave it such a word that anything under the sun could have classified as it according to them. So, anyways, long story short, again, we're gonna have to fight this one out in legally. The only legal way possible, and it's not by saying, "Oh, let's push for natural law," and the people are gonna we're gonna make our own laws. You're never gonna be able to. Okay, why? Because Canada has corporations, international corporations, and countries invested into our natural resources and human resources, and our food and everything else. Everything's really intertwined. I was going through all of the contracts that Canada has signed over the years, and with trying to separate them by countries. Okay, like all of these countries, this is what they say. And why? Because we need to know what we're up against. You can't just go off willy-nilly and do what you want. There's reasoning behind this. And the international will not allow you to just anybody. And it's like the same thing with First Nations. I've been getting this question a lot. And can one person out of a nation of Indigenous peoples, let's say the Mohawks or whatever, just sign and say that they represent the Mohawk Nation? No, they can't. They need 51%. Even the Confederacy, everybody looks at them as though they're the representative. The traditional council is the representative, but no, because by law they only recognize band council. And the only way that the nations could stand up and say, yes, we're going to do our own governance and we're going to do it our way. And I've showed them this about 5 years ago, if not more, not 6. And we brought this to band council to try and discuss this, to open up the talks in regards to the at least 51% of all those registered on Six Nation needed to sign that, yes, they want to have final decision in all things that happen in regards to their territory and their funds and everything else. Mind you, it's hard to get people to want to do that because everybody's so intimidated. But by law, they can, and they'd be able to take out band council overnight with just 51% signatures of the registered members on their reserve, they're in their territory. So, but that is everywhere. That's also the same worldwide. So if you're looking at, they'll say, well, we don't need our people in the justice system. We're going to create our own justice system. Well, their justice system still has to respect international human rights laws, whether they sign them or not, because the job of all the other countries is to make sure that the other countries who didn't sign on to that follow them and respect human rights. So even if the United States did not sign it or walked away from the UN to absolve themselves from being charged, another country can file. Yeah. Same with the Oviedo for our genome. So our genome is protected. And if they say, at first they were saying, oh, no, it's not protected. Yes, it is. Anyways, this is another issue, but we can pretty much piece together everything that's happened to now, how they tried to destroy everything, so that the pattern, you can see the pattern of criminality enter into this, and then racketeering out of it. Same thing going on with moving a whole bunch of immigrants and migrants here to Canada, and then Doug Ford saying, well, Canada brought it over 1 point something million. Canada was not allowed to bring more than 500,000. And before it used to be 450,000. So now, again, is it really an emergency for these people? Who knows? But the thing is we don't have homes for our own people who are on the street. And then they claim that they can find places for all of them. to live. And they need, to ruin 21, at least 21 species of living life, for the territory, the area that Doug Ford wants. And that's a protected area. So, the green belt is a protected area, but he's willing to destroy 21 species of life when we have a whole bunch of other places available, as mentioned by the Auditor General of Ontario. There's other places to put these houses. So they better be willing to build houses for our people as well. So coming back to this, they will do whatever the hell they want as long as we don't get our power. So it's up to you, me, and everybody else, not one person, all the organizations to get together. And it's hard to get the organizations together because everybody, in order to survive to do this, needs to have funding. And that's why we have a membership. Okay, so everybody's fighting for funding because we're not rich. We don't get any money from, there's sure as hell we're not going to get money from the government because they're trying to block us everywhere because we're political. So even though we are a not-for-profit, they're deeming us as political. So we're not allowed to give out receipts. So do I really want donations for the C.P.U? Hell no. I'd rather get members because it's members we need. And it's also signatures that we need so that we can pay for lawyers and everything else and to survive. So when you're looking at all of the groups, we have to go at this governing thing and what's going on and get them from every which way. Everybody should have a job and a direction to go into, but it would be insanity for us to allow others to go into the wrong path, to waste their time and energy for nothing and only to be disappointed. But right now, a lot of people are worried about digital currency. Guess what? Ain't gonna happen in Canada, according to Black Box. Okay, the Bank of Canada actually, it was funny because they had a little video saying we're gonna have this CBDC, but we're always gonna have cash. But the thing is they did a survey and it wouldn't be feasible for Canada to have a digital currency like that. Okay. So anyways, I'm going to come back and show you Black Locks after, because we're going to do one segment on the CBDC, one segment on our DNA that's lost, that was taken, and they're making tons of money on. And I could show you this. Actually, I'm going to get back to that after, but the Syracuse principles, the what I just showed you there, the Johannesburg principles are very important. And those are documents everybody should have a copy of and then get to learn, because the first thing you need to learn is your rights. And we're going to be bringing on a lawyer that will be discussing our rights and at the international level. So that should finally, that should be very interesting. And there's going to be others following through. I just don't know the schedule yet, but we're just waiting to find out. And, these people are very busy, so it's not like they can turn on a dime and say, okay, I'll do it now, or I'll do it tomorrow, or whatever. They're busy. There's other things that are really pressing legally that they need to try to clean up and to fix. So we try not to press them too much, but at least working on our issues and where we're going to go with what we're doing, and the planning of it, the strategizing, the international level that needs to be brought in. It has to be done right, because we only have one shot at this, and that's to get our legal rights to our right to self-determination as a people. We're not overthrowing any government. We're not doing anything like that, but the government will have to listen to the people. That's the law, and that's our right. But the people have to say so in writing. The same with the Indigenous nations. You can't have one person say they represent a nation, and you've got all these nations, you can't count the whole nation. It's only one person. So everybody has that equal right, and nobody can speak for somebody else. Okay, they'll tell you, you don't speak for me. Okay, so I've heard that I don't know how many times, and they're right. You can't make claims to say that you're speaking for everybody. So that's why we need as many signatures as possible. And that's why we also need Indigenous nations to do the same. Okay, so and that's being taken care of by really terrific people worldwide. And we have one of our ladies that's gone to Costa Rica. I hope she has a great trip. You know, she's fighting really hard and really positive, which is great. And, you know, who knows? But anyways, we're going to have to really strategize this, and we're hoping to be done by to be able to present a whole bunch of things in September. And, you know, Parliament doesn't open till the 18th of September, and hopefully we'll have a few shockers for them, you know, to serve to them, you know. But again, with that, things have to happen. We need to pass. We need to get to the action. Talk is cheap. Do we want to get people all, you know, excited about what we're doing? The thing is we're excited about actually moving forward, getting things started. Everybody's coming back now to us, which is great because, you know, they had left thinking, oh, well, it's never going to work out, but no, they're coming back because it is the only viable legal solution. But we need everybody on board, all working together for the same things. And that's true freedom, because you never have freedom unless you're the people are the final decision makers. Okay. So we're still going to be working with government, but the governments are going to be finally acting the way they're supposed, instead of saying, oh, we're civil servants. No. And then say that they can do whatever they want to us. That's double speak. When they say we're civil servants and they, you know, there's nothing honorable in what they've done and who they are, and they have no right to be carrying that title unless we see how honorable they've been. Then at some point, then the people can decide if politicians deserve that title, because action speaks louder than words. And right now, their actions speak very loud. We're at war. The government is at war against Canadian citizens and Indigenous nations. And it's not just Canada. It's a few countries, but it's not all the countries. And we're going to pass to that right now. Actually, I'm going to just go over here. Central bank, digital currency. Okay. Where am I here? Okay, digital currency. I want to show you something else first. But then we're going to go to the CBDC, because that's huge. Okay, the tracker. Just put that down. And I'm all over the place there, but where is this? I just had it a while ago. Oh, there we go. Okay. Second here. Zoom. Just want to make sure that that's there. Okay. Now, it's been a while since I've done this, all these things here. Okay, share. There we go. Now, okay, I'm going to show you a little something here. So I'm going to try to keep this just to give you an idea of what it looks like. This is it. Okay, we go here. Okay, this is the Atlantic Council. And if you want to monitor this, you can. It says Central Bank Digital Currency Tracker. Scroll and explore. So a lot of you might already know about this, but it says, what is a central bank digital currency, CBDC? CBDC is virtual money backed and issued by a central bank. As cryptocurrencies and stable coins have become more popular, the world's central banks have realized that they need to provide an alternative. Well, what they were building this on was total control over what we do, or could have total control. Okay, they're trying to say, oh no, that's not what they're after, but we know it's BS because eventually they can decide at the last minute that they'll take total control. So we can't give them that option. Okay, as long as we don't have rights to veto their decisions as the final decision makers. So here you'll see that 130 countries. We have 193 countries Okay, basically a little bit more than that, but actually 193 countries that really go to the UN and vote. And it's the countries that vote that we want on board. Excuse me, not necessarily just the UN. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, let's get out of the UN. Well, right now, the one thing they haven't been, the World Economic Forum and their cronies and the big corporations haven't been able to manipulate right now by installing their double agents is, how can I say, our human rights that's already embedded everywhere in law. So as long as that's still embedded in law, we're safe. Okay, no matter what the UN does, what it says, those laws, as long as the judges, because the rule of law is international, and the judges are and the lawyers are the caretakers, the guardians of that rule of law, and they need to be able to uphold these governments and even the organizations to hold the rule of law. Even the World Health Organization stipulates that, yes, they have to honor our human rights. And your body, your choice, yes, they have to honor that. But then, you know, the governments have been doing stuff using words, and it's like the CDC and the FDA using words as though, well, our recommendations, like for ivermectin, they said that their recommendation was not to use ivermectin for the you know, but this is how we can't charge them for saying recommendations, because then the government's turned around and said, no, you're not allowed to give it. Doctors have lost their licenses over the government's saying that, or public health, you're not allowed to give that out, or the medical association saying that. So the medical associations and all that could be charged with misleading everybody. However, we can't really charge the other ones because, oh, well, we use this word here. Okay. So the same thing with this here. Look at this. 130 countries are involved in the CBDC. Okay. So 11 countries launched, 21 are pilot projects. They're already underway. 32 are in development. They're not in the pilot yet. 45 are still in the research category, researching it. And then 16 are inactive. They don't want it. Okay. They really don't want the CBDC. And then 2 who wanted the CBDC, who went ahead with it, canceled. So if you're looking at who canceled, okay, you've got here, Nigeria canceled it. And is that, yeah, Ecuador canceled it. Okay. So when you see here CBDC canceled, they were going to use it for retail purchases. Infrastructure was conventional, and technology partnership, CNT. So again, here, when we look at here, it says it's not Nigeria that launched. Actually, Nigeria launched it. Sorry about that. Where's the other one? Right here, Senegal. So it wasn't Nigeria, it was Senegal that canceled it. They were under retail as well, and e-currency. So here, what did Nigeria do? They've got it all implemented. Okay. So they're Nigeria is one of the 11s that have launched it. So who else launched it? Okay, the Bahamas launched it. And then you have Jamaica that's launched it. And then, okay, right here, Anguilla launched it. So you have a lot of these little countries that were all part of the BRICS. Remember, everybody thinks the BRICS is going to save everybody. No, gotta watch. Okay, because a lot of the countries with the BRICS, if you see 21 pilot project, it's well advanced in, not Ecuador, right here, Brazil. Okay, come on, right here. There we go, Brazil. They're in development. So here again, South Africa in development, Australia in development. Okay. And where else here? Okay. Oops. Canada in development. So you can see here that they want to use it for retail and wholesale. Architecture is intermediated because that's going to be connected to the central bank in the United States that they've created together with Canada and Mexico. And then the infrastructure is both. And cross-border projects, Project Jasper. So we need to know what Project Jasper is. And this is where you're going to find all of that information. So when you look at the countries in blue, they're still thinking. Okay. So even Canada now says that, oh, we won't be getting the CBDC here. So I'm just going to show you here. However, it's okay, not that one. I'm just going to go to something else. But this is how you can feel a little bit better about the fact that some countries are canceling it. And, I mean, Ecuador is one of the countries on our side, which we can use under the Organization of American States, okay, to support us. And then you've got these ones here there's 16 that are inactive, okay. They don't want really anything to do with that. So because they're inactive, they still haven't said no, but they're just sitting on the sidelines. Okay, so we have a lot here. And again, Venezuela, inactive. Curaçao, however you say that, not active. Belize, not active. So in here again, Uruguay, not active. This is still, again, pending, whatever. So we're not there yet, people. So we shouldn't be too scared about this, guaranteed. So now I'm just going to leave you with this here. I'm going to go and look at, hang on here, what was said in regards to the Bank of Canada. Oh, no digital currency here. There we go. And I'm going to put that online. And I was given the okay by Blacklocks to use their information and to share it. There we go. So I'm just going to bring this here. Okay, Bank of Canada. No federal digital currency here. So, oops, got to log in. Okay. So this was Friday, August 11, 2023. And it says government issued digital currency is unnecessary and would only be feasible if most Canadians asked for it. The Bank of Canada said yesterday consumers would have to drive its use, said a bank report. So now we know how Canada lies about saying, oh, we have a survey and the Canadian citizens said yes to this, even though they've only surveyed, not even 2,000 people. So it's hogwash. We just got to make sure that they don't do that and really send in those letters and really say, hey, we don't want this. But by having our power under, if you join the Canadian People's Union, become a member and sign your convention of consent, then, we're going to be able to, hopefully eventually, as long as we get 51% or close enough, even a smaller percentage, then we'd be able to get everybody else involved into this, so that they sign their conventions a little bit easier than what we have now, so that we can get our rights recognized internationally and all work together, because there's just not just our country, there's other countries still trying to decolonize. So it's a good idea that we all do it together and all get together for the same thing, so that and the countries that were badly decolonized can actually fix their problems. So this is how we're getting about this. So eventually, yes, we will have our dividends, before it's too late, hopefully before it's too late. So, and when is too late, we don't know when is too late. So because of the propaganda online, you got to watch. They really made us think that Yes, especially the money guys. I thought for sure, oh my God, we're, say, oh, you got to do this before this date. And then we thought it'd be here already. And, by January, that's going to be the end of that. And now we're August. So they put us in fear all the time. So we need to stay away from the fear. So if you keep reading this, it says, as a practical matter, achieving wide adoption, acceptance and use of a central bank digital currency could be challenging because most Canadians have access to several methods of payment, said the report. Unmet payment needs and a central bank digital currency. Okay, so that's the name of that report. So you look for the report, unmet payment needs and a central bank digital currency, and you'll get to that. And it says overcoming such barriers could require significant and sustained investment by the central bank. Okay, so basically, they're not ready for it. They, here they'll say, however, most customers face few payment gaps or friction, and therefore might have relatively weak incentives to adopt and especially to use a central bank digital currency at scale, said payment needs. If that were the case, widespread merchant acceptance would also be unlikely. The merchants don't want it either. So this suggests that addressing unmet payment needs for a minority of consumers by ensuing a central bank digital currency could be challenging. So as long as we say no and we make sure that they know that it's no, and we get more people to say no, the better. So anyways, that's, the bottom line is they're showing their true colors. And we need everybody to take a breath with what they're doing. There's small wins here and there, in court battles being won. We just need to be patient a little bit, release the fear, because that's what they're banking on, is your fear. And that's how they can manipulate us and keep you depressed. We need to vibe, we are energy. And our energy, we need to vibrate higher, meaning happy. The more we sing, the happier we are, the higher we vibrate. But if we're kept in fear, we're at a low vibration. And this is when technology and a low vibration can get to us. Okay. So keep your energies high, your focus positive, and, we've got to make sure to protect these kids, protect our genome, protect their genome. And if we all get together and do it properly and get the other countries involved, the way that we're trying to do this, we've got a good chance. But we need you, to support this. Sign your convention of consent, join the C.P.U as a member, and you'll be able to see things, how they develop. So we can't tell you everything on these videos, but we're going to be interviewing people pretty soon. As soon as we get set up, we're just waiting for September to roll around. We're still just organizing with all the facts that we have, all the proof that we have, and how, there is a pattern of criminality and racketeering and all this developed by the governments and the NIH, the United States, and Genome Canada, and all of them here, okay, and CanCogen, and how relevant it is even to the isolation of the virus. So everything is kind of connected, and it's the dots are getting connected properly. And I'd advise anybody who has information, do not be afraid to come forward. You should be protected. And if the government's not allowed to come against you, because they would be in breach of international law again. Okay, so no fear, positive all the way. We keep marching, and never mind all of what you're hearing on the other side. It's all fear to make you think it's okay, it's coming, because I've been there, done that, okay, especially with the CBDC and all this. And it's like, oh my God. So I was listening to these guys, but really the best place to go is to see what they're doing, where they're at, find out exactly when it's coming down. But at the same time, we can push back. So, we don't give up. The battle isn't over yet, and they haven't won. So we're going to win the war. They might have won some battles, but we're winning the war. So please go to the powershift.ca or the powershift.ca or the CPU.ca and go to our website. You can read about us there. We're going to have another document ready for you shortly in regards to what we've done, and our marketing team has been working on that. You know, for the last couple of days. They're just finalizing. So we're going to have that ready for you shortly as well. But I just want to give you a small update so that you can breathe a little bit, you know, and don't buy into what they're selling. Any of this woke stuff. You don't want your kids to go to school or to be subject to that. Keep them home. You know, people can get together and hire somebody to educate the kids, do neighborhood schooling, do whatever. We can stop the 15-minute cities. We can stop all of that. We just need to have the right terminology and the right laws to support us, and a huge amount of people. And they'll be off and running because there's not that many of them. Okay. And that's what that map showed you a while ago. There's only so many countries advancing this with the World Economic Forum, and we can kiss them goodbye if we're smart. So the Powershift the Powershift.ca or the CPU.ca, and please sign your Citizens Convention of Consent on there. And we're also going to be coming out with a Citizens Convention of Consent that you'll be able to pass around to everybody, but under a different format to show that this is what the people want, where we're not going to, if people are not online, they'll have access to. Okay. So thank you. Have yourself a great weekend. Breathe. And we'll have all the documents ready for you. And the more that you see about, you learn about your rights, anything that you can read about your rights, please go and read them. But the Syracuse Principles and the Johannesburg's Principles count under the rule of law. And if we stand by the rule of law and then support the lawyers and the the judges, so that they can learn the truth, that they've been denied the truth, especially here in Canada, but since 1982. Well, now the truth is going to come out, and Canada will be found criminally, at least in our book anyways, will be found criminally guilty of abuse, malfeasance. However that is going to turn out, I don't know. But in the eyes of the people, yeah, they are guilty. And the more children and adults who die, or seniors who die at their hands, the more the truth was going to keep coming out. So we just had to give it time. And wish we could save everybody, but right now we need to help those like Sean's father, who died after 33 days later after being this gentleman needs our help, everybody's help. So anybody that's asking for help like that, please be kind. I know it's hard times right now, but we can do with a little bit less, and bring this forward, because we are all responsible for our part in this. No matter what kind of help you can give, everything matters, everything counts, everything helps. So I'll leave you with that. Good night, and I'll be back with a schedule. Then you'll see what we're going to be discussing on certain days, and we should have that ready for you on Monday morning. Thank you. Bye-bye.